So I guess we're going to talk about the original MacGyver,
Yay!
my favorite too, versus the new MacGyver,
Boo.
which you've never watched, in all honesty. But
Probably boo.
yeah, it's not the same. So now MacGyver's a show from the 80s, which was something from when I was a kid. And I think it came directly out of the popularity of like Indiana Jones in the movies. There was a big thing, back then, if something was popular in the movies, like 3 Men and a Baby, they made the show Full House, which was kind of trying to capitalize on that. MacGyver, I think, comes from Indiana Jones a little bit, and maybe a little bit of James Bond. And that was a show when I was a kid. So how did you get interested in it? The original.
You told me about it, so then I watched it, and I really liked it.
And why do you like it?
Because he doesn't use like guns or anything. He uses his mind and he creates stuff to solve problems.
Which is, it was a unique approach to storytelling at that time, because at the same time, shows like the A-Team were out, and that was a lot of guns and weapons and whatever, although nobody ever got injured. So it was comic book sort of violence. But MacGyver not using a gun, or actually refusing to use a gun or a weapon, in a traditional sense, was sort of a new thing at the time, and it had a unique take. And you like that. There's another aspect of it that you've told me you like, because one of your favorite subjects in school is
Science.
science, and he uses science a lot. So it's got good messages. It's an action adventure show, but he approaches things in a encouraging way, or in a way that's good for everybody. And you like it. I liked it right from the first time I saw it, and it was kind of a neat thing, because it was something that my dad and I could watch together. Your grandfather was not into most things that I liked. I liked Star Wars or Star Trek, and he didn't want to be bothered with those. He didn't understand them. He liked Westerns, which I didn't like at the time. I like them more now. And I actually watched some of the ones that he would watch. But that was a show where we could kind of connect, and we could watch that together. That one, and Magnum PI, maybe a couple other ones that we would watch. But MacGyver was one that we would sit down as a family and watch. And we do that. And your little brother, who's 4, he actually begs to watch it now, which is kind of funny.
I downloaded one on the way to our grandma's, and he wanted to watch it.
He's watched it like 4 times, the same
I know.
episode. Yeah. and that sort of brings us to the new MacGyver. And we know him also from, well, the actor I don't have a problem with. We saw him in that movie Monster Truck. He was in that movie Monster Truck, remember? Which you guys liked. It was a little weird, but it was okay. My biggest problem with the new MacGyver, and you haven't seen it, and there's a reason you haven't seen it, and it's because it doesn't have the same makeup as the original. There are weapons involved, and it's much more serious and heavy, and I don't think it's appropriate for you to watch it. So it's unfortunate, because you love MacGyver, but you can't even watch the new one, really. So, and this is my thing on that, and you're not going to understand this necessarily, but maybe people watching would. It's a show that's on CBS. That's one of the networks, CBS. And CBS has hits with like NCIS and NCIS Los Angeles, and those are what they call procedurals. They're a crime drama kind of thing, which they basically have a template. CBS has this template that works really well, they feel, because NCIS has been successful. So somebody went, oh, you know what? MacGyver had this huge following and this huge fan base. Why don't we reboot MacGyver, and we'll just use the template for NCIS, and we'll plug the MacGyver characters into it. So they've made it not this kind of wholesome, fun family adventure show, if we would call the original that, but they've basically plugged the MacGyver characters into this template that is NCIS. So all it's MacGyver are the names. They have the names of the characters from MacGyver, and he does some things with paper clips and stuff. He doesn't really use weapons too much, but the people around him do, that are on his group. And they've done something similar. There was a show called Hawaii Five-0 back in the late 60s, early 70s. CBS has rebooted that, and they basically plugged that into the template, the NCIS template. And now they're going to do it with Magnum PI, which is a travesty. You can't replace, I don't think you can replace MacGyver, but you certainly can't replace Magnum. And they're going to do the same thing. You can already tell by the character descriptions that they're going to basically plug all the Magnum characters into that same template, that successful template, and they're going to try to capitalize on the name of MacGyver and the name of Magnum and the name of Hawaii Five-0, but using the same formulaic stuff they do in other things. What else about MacGyver do you like? So you like the fact that he uses science. You like the fact that he doesn't use a weapon. It's still now these stories are from the 80s, so they're 20. My goodness, they're 28 years old. Some of those stories. I think it started in, when did it start? Maybe 83. So 25 years old. So they didn't have cell phones. So storytelling is a lot different. But you like it. You understand it. Mm-hmm. What are your favorite characters other than MacGyver? Who are your favorite characters?
I like Pete.
Pete, his boss.
Mm-hmm. I like Penny.
His friend
some
Penny.
Of them. I don't like Murdoch.
Well, he's the
Well,
villain. You're not
yeah.
supposed to like him. He's the villain. That's okay.
Um,
Do you have a favorite episode?
I like all of them.
You like all? You've seen all 7 seasons.
Uh-huh.
You saw the made-for-TV movies.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What we talk a little bit about your birthday. What you asked for a birthday party last year.
I asked for the old MacGyver, and you made all of the stuff, like
Yes.
MacGyver would.
Because, well, yes, like MacGyver. You can't find vintage MacGyver party decorations for a children's birthday party. So I had some fun. Your streamers I made out of duct tape, which was very apropos. And we had, you guys had fake Swiss Army knives for your utensils. What else did we have? All your packages were in brown paper and looked like they could be potential, bombs. Which probably sounds in poor taste, but it was supposed to be fun because you understood what it was.
We had pin the tail on, or pin the mullet on MacGyver.
Pin the mullet on MacGyver, yes, we did that. That was fun. So we had there were paper clips as party favors. We had that, and light bulbs and things.
Yeah, the light bulbs were filled with the paper.
Yes, we had these light bulbs that were filled with paper clips. So it was like ideas with paper clips. So it was fun. Actually, I had a lot of fun digging all these things up to create the birthday party for you. I had as much fun doing that as I hope you had with the birthday party itself. So, but I think it's interesting because it's from a completely different generation than your generation, but it appeals to you. And we tried to watch a little bit of one of these, and I don't think you remember it, but I had to kind of shut it off right away because it was too violent right off the bat, the new one. So I think it's...
I don't think I ever watched it.
Well, because I didn't let you, because it was too violent. We were going to watch it, and then right from the start, it looked like it wasn't going to be appropriate for somebody your age. And that's again, what I'm saying is that's unfortunate because the original was something I could watch with my parents. And so we do that. So we watch the vintage shows together because you still can. And unfortunately, there's not much on TV that you can watch as a family.
There used to be the old MacGyver version on TV.
Yeah, it was on a network called MeTV, which runs older shows. So we find it on there sometimes. There's been other shows that we watched that way that you guys like. It's funny because your brother's really good with the theme songs of all these old shows, right?
Like I go, and he's like, MacGyver.
Yes, he knows MacGyver. He knows
Chips.
the theme to Chips, the original, not the movie, which is another debacle. Which I couldn't take you guys to. They love Chips too, but we couldn't go to that because it's completely inappropriate. MASH, I don't let you watch the show because it's a little too adult, but he knows the theme music because if I'm watching it in the other room, he's really good with the music for the old shows.
You also had it on your phone.
Yes, that's true. You're not supposed to give away those kind of nerd secrets. But anyway. No, that's true. So he knows all the theme music. Now, MacGyver you can watch now, and you watch Chips. And the original Chips, not that we're going to go way into that, but that's another show where it's a cop show. But do
They don't use weapons.
They never draw a gun. They never draw a gun. So it's kind of so you can watch it, and it's usually fun. And that one's older than MacGyver. That's from like the late 70s. MacGyver didn't come in until the 80s. I'm thinking it was 84 now, but I'm not
I
sure.
remember one episode when they had to take it out, but they didn't have to shoot it or anything.
Right.
That was only one episode.
And so you've seen characters that I guess we would call heroes, and they've managed to get themselves out of situations without using a weapon. And those are shows from the 80s, which is typically categorized as a violent era in television. And again, if you watch the A-Team, they have a lot of weaponry and whatever. Nobody got hurt or what have you with it. So it was more comic violence, comic book style violence, I guess you'd say. But both MacGyver and Chips, which Chips went into the 80s, they didn't have a lot of violence. So you see them solve problems in other ways. MacGyver with his mind. Usually the guys on Chips solve it with just being friendly, nice guys. They work through the problems with people and help them out. So those, like I said, those were shows that I could watch with my parents that were on in prime time and whatever. I'm trying to think of one that that we can watch together in prime time that's not a kids show. That's not on Nickelodeon or Disney. Can you think of any? I don't.
You said one time when I got a little bit older, I could watch that other one that you really like. I don't know what's
Magnum
called.
PI. That you're gonna have to be. That's got some more serious themes. It's just a more serious show that's more. I don't know if you'd say reality based. Some of the stuff MacGyver comes up with, I'm not sure you could do. When he makes a hang glider out of a Kleenex and a pack of chewing gum, and I don't know if he could really do that.
I remember one episode of MacGyver when they were in that little hut and he made like an airplane of all of that stuff that was just in that little tiny hut.
Yeah, and my fear was that if I was cooking dinner, you and Colton would go out to the playroom, and the next thing you know, you'd be going off the roof having made something out of, So hopefully that never happened. Hopefully we don't get that. But
we tried to do that with making all this stuff into the trampoline, and the trampoline was the airplane, but that didn't work.
It didn't work. You didn't take that up to the roof, did you?
No.
Okay, well, we're good.
It's a trampoline.
Okay. I just thought I'd bounce that off you. Dad jokes are how I roll. Anyway. So, Magnum PI is that's got more serious themes in it when you get a little older. I'll let you watch that. The original, not whatever they're going to put on TV that we do that. So I don't think there is any show. We've watched an episode or two of The Goldbergs, which is a comedy. But I don't know that show well enough to let you guys watch it regularly. But the one we watched was okay. We could kind of watch it as a family. But there's not a lot on that is not on a kids network or a family-based network. So like the regular CBS, ABC, NBC networks, I don't know of much that we can watch as a family. But we watch the old shows, and that makes me happy because I love them. I love it because it's nostalgic. Yes. So don't grow up. It's not worth it. Well, what do you want? What else do you want to say about MacGyver? Original or new? I know you can't say much about the new.
I think it was the last episode that he had the relative, his son.
His son, yeah.
And he refused to use the gun, and he said, "That's not the MacGyver way." And then someone else was going to use a gun that was MacGyver's or his friend, and he said, "No, that's not the MacGyver way." So.
Yep, and that's a good message because he was always. I remember how you used to get nervous, like in the third season, like is he going to be okay? And I'm like, there's 7 seasons and the show's called MacGyver, so you could probably figure. But you always would get nervous. But he always came out, and it always worked out. And
maybe that was because Murdoch was in most of the ones that I said that.
Yeah, that's true. But he was really good at his part because he was a good villain. But he was a traditional villain, like a twirl your mustache kind of villain, tie the person to the railroad tracks.
The one that I downloaded was called Cleo Rocks, and Colton actually likes that one, but it has Murdoch in it. And MacGyver falls, and his hand is cut with the knife, and so he gets the electricity thing connected to the water that Pete would fall in, and he actually kills Murdoch in that water instead of killing him.
Right, but he doesn't kill him.
Kill
Because
Murdoch.
Murdoch always comes back.
Yeah.
Yes. Murdoch.
Remember me, MacGyver.
That's good. All right. Well, I don't know if is there anything else to say?
No.
Yeah, and the guy who plays, now this guy, he's a nice guy, this guy, the new guy, but Richard Dean Anderson is one of those guys. He's in a show called Stargate SG-1. He was in for like 8 years. The show ran for 10, but he was in 8 seasons of it. And that's a science fiction show. And maybe someday you'd like that, but that, again, that's a little too heavy for your age right now. But he brings a good sense of humor and a sense of, he's very down-to-earth guy when it comes to that. So he's a likable actor. And I think the new MacGyver, he's a likable actor too. I just don't think that you can really call the show MacGyver when it's kind of going against the whole MacGyver doesn't use guns kind of thing. I don't think he uses guns, but enough of his partners in the show use it that it kind of negates it. So, all right, anything else?
No.
No? All right. Well.
Other than MacGyver is awesome.
Yes. And remember, his mind
is the ultimate weapon.
I don't think there's anything else to say.